Anyway, what I want to talk about is a coyote that my brother and we had called and killed. That was actually it had killed a calf or two. And what had happened was, as I travel all over the country and meet ranchers, some of them keep my phone number and I have their phone number. And that does not mean that I'm ever going back to their ranch again. I just enjoy traveling to certain parts of the country and going here and there. But what had happened, this rancher, they had gotten quite a bit of snow and he just started calving, and he called and he said that the coyote had killed one of his calves or two of his calves, and he was for sure that it was coyote, and the calves were healthy. They'd been tagged already, and a coyote had killed them. So basically, I went and got my brother excited about going, because it was about a 500, 600, 700 mile drive. So it's not something that you just jump in the vehicle and go. You've got to make a plan, because it's a full day of driving, and then the weather may change by the time you get there. So basically what had happened is, we drive down there and there was a lot of snow. You couldn't even get good morning, Steve. Good morning, Wayne. This is kind of cool. I'm trying to figure all this out doing it on my phone. But anyway, we drove down there, and the first stand we made right around the cattle, once I figured out from the rancher what was going on, where he was calving, where the cattle were, when they were feeding the cattle, when they were checking the cattle, because all those things go into play when you're trying to kill a livestock killer. But anyway, whenever I got into it all with the rancher, figuring everything out, my brother and I made a stand, and it was actually late in the day. We just decided to slip on in, make a stand. And I want to know, is this backwards? This is probably all backwards. I hate doing all this just because of how everything's backwards. But yeah, it is. I'm going to have to turn the screen around so I can show you what was going on. But I drew up a map of the area, what we did. But long story short, we went in. There was a road on each side of the cattle, and there was about 3 miles, 2.5 miles of land between the cattle and the two roads. So what we did was we parked on the road, and then we hiked in about probably 400 or 500 yards and made one stand in the roughest area, but we could see cattle down the way. So the cattle were about probably close to a half mile from us, and but there was a little bit of rougher terrain between us and the cattle. And we used the wind to our advantage, and lo and behold, ended up calling in a coyote. And this coyote was so sneaky. Normally they're aggressive and they come in well. I know nobody had been hunting this spot, and called, and pretty soon here come this coyote. But it was just walking and trotting and sneaking, using all the low spots, you know. And usually when they're using low spots, they're an adult coyote. They're seasoned. They've probably got a little bit of age on them. They're very cagey, and the reason they use low spots is because ranchers shoot at them, people driving down the road shoot at them. So a coyote learns to use low spots, and they do it a lot. And this was a coyote that was using the low spots, trying to get to our wind, and lo and behold, I ended up making a shot on this coyote, probably 120 to 40 yard shot with my rifle. And how I know, well, I didn't know at the time that it was the killer, but whenever we walked up to the coyote after I'd shot it, as sneaky as that coyote was, I was just like, man, oh man, this might be the killer, you know, just the first one we called up around the cattle. Get down there to the coyote, and that coyote, obviously we filmed it all, so I have footage of this coyote, and I showed it on television years ago. Let me see what this says here. Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, Derek. It's neat to see people post. I'll just leave that open. But anyway, we walk up to this coyote, and in the death throes, the coyote's dead, but its body is still going through the process of dying. The coyote starts regurgitating or throwing up black hair, and that was the calf, and it was throwing up, and it kept throwing up, and its belly was huge. So number one, that coyote was eating the calf. We know that. So that's one check against that coyote. But when a calf dies, there could be 3 or 4 different coyotes eating on that calf. So you don't necessarily know that you killed a calf eater just from the coyote that you killed that had it was throwing up calf hair and skin. So basically, you need to check with the rancher in another week or 2 weeks to know, hey, are you still losing calves? Because if you did not kill the killer, you're still probably going to have problems with calves getting killed. But we killed more coyotes in the area, and lo and behold, I kept in good contact with that rancher, and he specifically said never ever lost another calf. So, and that was several years ago when the cattle price was really high. So when you lose one calf, $500, $600, $700, and that is part of your livelihood, you're going to be a little bit defensive on coyotes. Good morning, Isaac. Good morning, Chad. Good seeing you guys. But anyway, like I said, I do apologize because I'm just learning this live stuff yet, and I don't even know if it's online yet. I know you guys are watching. It's just crazy how it all goes. I'm glad you all joined me. But the whole story about killing a livestock killer, you have no idea that you actually kill that animal until probably several weeks later. It's really tough to know. Good morning, Coyote Killer. Great way to start the Monday. I'm going to try to do this every Monday, I'm telling you. Good morning, Outhouse Outfitter. But bear with me. I'm going to try to turn my phone around, and I want to show you a description or a diagram that I drew up of this particular hunt, because I think you can take something away from it. So, Fort Ever, it's about time you showed up. Thank you for watching. Alberta cold, Alberta strong. Let me see here. Okay. Oh, shoot. Let me see here. If this isn't redneck, I don't know what is. But anyway, okay. So when I'm down there, we've got a road here, we've got a road here, but it's a big block of hills here. And from this road, if I'm driving along it, I'm looking to the east, looking this way. And it's terrible to hunt because predominantly you have a southwest wind. So the wind's going across you here. This road goes all the way through the property. From here to here, I can glass and I can see everything. So it's huge, wide open spaces. So basically, if you park anywhere, a coyote's looking at you somewhere. Well, anyway, if you pull down the road a little further, you can pull in a low spot, but you have to walk a long ways to get out in here. And whenever you get out in here, there's just some rolling hills. But they roll down to this low spot. This is an old dry creek bed. There's no timber. It's just an old sandy wash, if you will. So basically, the wind's going out of the southwest, coming from here, blowing across. We park here, we walk kind of crosswind. I want to walk crosswind, and I'm going to sit where I can see my downwind. I always want to be able to see that because that coyote's going to try to slip out of this rough stuff, get down around me, and then get to my downwind. So we walk in here, we set up. I can see bits and pieces of the cattle down in here. And don't hold my drawings against me. I'm no artist, I can tell you. I can call coyotes, that's an artistry, but I cannot draw cattle, diagrams, what have you. But anyway, we sneak in here, we set up, I can see the cattle down here, I can see bits and pieces of them, because some of them are behind hills, so we wanted to try close to the cattle and then work away from the cattle. So we started right here. The coyote just showed up, popped up on a little ridge coming from the cattle, and it snuck right up in here, and it was starting to try to go to the downwind. I set up, it stopped, I made the shot, about 120, 140 yard shot, and just kerwop. Really loud thud. And a lot of times whenever you shoot a coyote that has a big full belly, sometimes they really pop. Not blow open, but it's just very, very hollow whenever you hit them with the rifle. So this is all wide open country up here. Typically, if you park here, call here, you could actually call a coyote from over in here, but it is so wide open, it's scary. I love the wide open, but that coyote tried to circle around us. We got him shot. It was a female. I shouldn't say we got him shot, but let me switch this around again real quick. Sorry, guys. Hopefully that turned out all right. But anyway, the coyote was an older female. She wasn't big, but she was an older female. Her teeth are wore down. I'm gonna say she was probably 5+. So basically, what happens, coyotes get fairly tame. They hear the rancher coming in, they hear that rancher feeding the cattle, they can hear all the cattle bawling, they can hear the babies bawling, and they just stay right near them. And this coyote was living in the hills right there. Good morning from Georgia, Daryl, 24 Outdoors. Good morning, Troy. Good to see you. Love the game plan to you, and thanks. Great info. Thanks, Josh. Where is Les from? Brian, I am from Nebraska. I hail from the University of Nebraska. I'm glad you like the drawing, Gregory. But anyway, I had a sneaking hunch that this coyote was the killer, because as soon as she started regurgitating the calf and started spitting it up, its belly was clear full. So after she had died, I actually cut her belly open, and it was solid calf in there. There was all kinds of pieces of that calf. Now, that does not mean that she was the killer. The only way you know if you get a livestock killer is if the killing stops. You have to assume that you possibly killed that killer, but that killer could move and transplant to another area if you put too much pressure on them. So what I'm telling you is, what we did is we tried to start right near the cattle, kill the coyote. Then we worked away from the cattle, and I think we killed 5 coyotes right around the cattle that day. But some of them were 2 miles away, some of them 3. But any coyote you kill, they can be leaving those cattle and coming to them. So that's just something to remember when you're working with a killer. Just because you kill one coyote does not mean you stop the killing or you killed that killer. Mangy coyotes are very, very big into the easy meal. You might not think a mangy coyote can kill, but what they do is they're very weak, so they'll just start chewing on that calf. Good morning, Mike. Good morning, Mike. 2 mics, eh? The mangy coyotes, they'll start chewing on them, and basically that calf is so young, and if the mother does not chase that coyote away, that coyote will just start eating on that calf. And a lot of times you see pictures on the internet of a calf that had his whole behind ate out. Well, that calf is just so weak and so new to life, it doesn't even know what's going on. It's just getting ate, and it hurts. It don't know what's going on. So just remember that. A lot of the killers will stay close, but a more seasoned killer is going to come from a long ways away. And I can guarantee you some killers will come 5 miles away, 10 miles away. They'll come in at night, kill, and leave, especially if they've been pressured and they know that there's something after them. They're tough to get, very tough to get. So thank you, David. Good to see you. But anyway, has anyone else killed a killer that you know of, a livestock killer? I've killed them numerous instances. I've been asked to go after some coyotes that they think have been killing their livestock, their sheep, and sometimes that killing stops, so you have to assume that you did it. Good morning, Snowy Utah, game hunter. Good to see you. Mama cow attacked your call. Well, that's what happens. You know, some of the mothers are in defense mode. So if cows start coming to the call, sometimes I want to get out of there because obviously they will chase away the coyote whenever you get one coming in. I've actually called really close to cows and killed coyotes that are sneaking through the cows. You just got to pay attention to where you're shooting. But too much coffee this morning anyway. I wanted to relay that story to you. Another story is when I was younger, we had sheep, and I walked out, and you know, when you're a kid and you have your pet lambs, and this one's tagged with the ear tag 89 and this one's 102, you become friends of your sheep. You like your sheep. So morning from Wyoming, Jeremy, good morning. But anyway, I walked out and I couldn't find these lambs and they just disappeared. Well, I happened to be walking out in our pasture and I found one of them dead and he was totally ate. And I was like, are you kidding me? That was one of my favorite lambs. So basically, what had happened was when I was walking around in the pasture, I had one stand up right there by me. He was probably 100 yards from me, a coyote. I look up and there's a coyote. The grass was taller and sheep everywhere. And that coyote stood up right in the middle of the sheep. And I was like, oh my. So I snuck back to the house, got my 22-250. And why I was even out there without my rifle is beyond me. Go right back out there. And I'm just sitting there. So all I did was lip squeak. And that coyote stood up about 140 yards out in the middle of the sheep. Boom, shot it. Big old male coyote. After that, never lost another lamb. But he killed about 5 or 6 lambs is what he ended up killing. So just a little bit of philosophy and hunting strategy on killing a killer. Not much, but I will go into this more. I just wanted to say hi mainly to everybody that's watching and the Morning Java. I just want a way to engage with all of you. Trust me, I've got tons of other stories that I want to relate. I thank you so much for joining me. Tell your friends about me. Hit the little bell so it tells you right when I go live. And I hope all of you have a wonderful day. I'm going to check out, okay? Have a good day.